everybody, I'm here to give you all the deets, all the info on doing the Kiwi Experience. I did it in April 2024, so let's get into everything that you might want to know. So first of all, what is the Kiwi Experience? It's a bus trip that you can do in New Zealand and that I chose to do instead of hiring a car or doing Intercity Buses, which are also two options that people did, and I met people who were doing a mix of all of them or just one of them. You basically buy a hop-off, hop-on bus pass and you can book kind of where you want to go. There's different passes that they have on their website. There's loads to choose from. And yeah, you hop on, hop off, decide how long you want to stay in each place. It's kind of like a highlights tour of New Zealand, I'd say. And you get different drivers, you meet different people, and you can decide if you want to stay with the group and stay on a certain bus with a certain driver, or you can switch it up, kind of tailor it and make it your own adventure. I did the backyard pass, which basically was nearly everything. So Bay of Islands, North Island, South Island, Milford Sound. The only thing I didn't do was the extra bit to Kaikoura, but so many people that I met said that that was the best thing they did in their whole trip. So just means I'm going to have to go back. I also didn't do the last two stops on my trip, which were Lake Tekapo and Christchurch, and I will get into why a little bit later. So first of all, how does booking the buses work? So you've booked your pass, you've decided kind of where you want to go. The Kiwi Experience website is really good at detailing every day and where you would go and what you can do in each place, so definitely recommend looking there, links in bio. So once you've booked your pass, you get an email and you can log into the bus planner and the trip planner. So if you log into the bus planner, it's really simple. You can just click on which bus you want to book and when you want to do it, and it will give you options of when the next bus is. There's also timetables that you can download on the Kiwi Experience website, so if you don't want to go and book all your buses and then realise that it doesn't really work with how many days you want to stay in each place, you can look at the timetable to see what days the buses leave. So that's what I did. I kind of looked at how long I was going to be in New Zealand, looked at the planner, like the timetable that I could download to plan when I could actually leave places or get to places, and then I went into the bus planner on the Kiwi Experience website and actually booked my buses. And it's really easy to like go in and change them or cancel them if you need to. You can also email the Kiwi email or call them directly if you're going to miss a bus or you need to cancel one. You won't be refunded though for if you don't use parts of your pass. Like once you've bought the pass, you have those set days and you can use them how you want, but you won't be refunded. So say you did what I did and you just don't book for a couple of days, so you miss a couple of bus trips, that's fine, you can tell them, but you won't get refunded for those trips. Next is the fun part, well, kind of the fun part, is accommodation and activities. So you, on that same email with your bus planner login, you'll get a trip planner login, so you could go onto there, book your accommodation. You can only book the accommodation through the trip planner for the minimum amount of days. So the bus pass that you choose will have a minimum amount of days that it recommends, and that is all you can book on the trip planner. So if you're planning to stay longer somewhere else, I recommend just booking directly with the hostel or through Hostel World. And yeah, just make sure that if you're staying 2 days somewhere, that actually book 2 days on the trip planner. Sometimes you can only book one, sometimes you have to stay 3. So just be really careful about how many you can actually book on the trip planner. Another thing you can do is if you meet like a good group of friends. So like I made a really nice group of friends and we just booked an Airbnb in Queenstown. So there are other options like that you can consider. You don't have to book the accommodation on the trip planner. Saying that, certain places you do, like Lake Mahinapua and like in Waitomo and Hot Water Beach, I recommend just booking what they have because the other ones are kind of far away. And also at the beginning of your trip, it's probably worth just booking the ones on the trip planner because most people who are on the experience will. And that's the easiest way to make friends is by staying in the same hostel. So then once you like kind of get to know people, you can look at other hostels or nicer ones or book an Airbnb. That's just what I would recommend. As for activities, really similar to booking accommodation. It's on the trip planner. So if there's stuff that you really want to do and you know you're going to do it, just book it. That's what I did. I knew I wanted to do the Mitai Maori village. I knew I wanted to go to Hobbiton. So I just booked those straight away. Then on the day, like when you're on the bus driver will pass around loads of different clipboards, kind of detailing the activities. And on the day, you'll sign up and you'll write your name and your receipt number onto the sheet of paper so that they know that you've paid for that activity and they can check that. And then they will book you in for the activity. So yeah, you'll get to do it and you've bought it, great, but then they'll book it for you. They'll like make the plans for you on the day because they have connections. They know who they're talking to. Yeah, so my advice there is if there's an activity you really want to do and you know it's going to be popular, like Hobbiton or the Mitai Maori Village, just book it. Normally those ones are fine because they have a lot of spaces. For the Waitomo glowworm rafting, nearly everyone did that. So in the high season, that will probably be booked out. Also, this is kind of rare, but it did happen once to us because we were in low season. There was one activity where you needed a minimum of 2 people to do it and only 1 person signed up, so they didn't get to do it. So just keep that in mind, but that's probably quite rare, especially if you go in high season. When should you go to New Zealand or go on the Kiwi Experience? All the time, whenever you can, just do it. Listen, I had the best time, so like if you just have a certain time where you can go, just do it. However, saying that, I went in April, which is beginning of autumn in New Zealand, and I think that was perfect because it was low season, wasn't very busy. It will be a little bit cold, you need a jacket, like a decent jacket, trousers, jumpers, definitely thermals if you're doing any hikes, especially the Tongariro crossing, but you'd be fine in like leggings if it was a nice day. Also, because I went in like the autumn time, it was really pretty, some of the like autumnal leaves. I went to Town and it was gorgeous, like orange leaves. Also, another thing, if you went in the lower season, the bus won't be packed, and that was glorious because everyone on the bus had 2 seats, so you had a seat for yourself and a seat for your belongings, which was ideal, which was great because you'll probably end up having a backpack, a little backpack, and a food bag, and we all just said how chaotic it would be if the bus was full and there was no room to put our stuff on the seats. So we thought that was great, but if you want a really full, crazy, hectic bus, then go in high season, I guess. Quick little bit on making friends. Literally so easy. So I spent 2 months in Australia before I went to New Zealand and kind of struggled making friends. Like I made a couple of really nice friends, and on the Kiwi Experience I literally met like the most amazing people, and it was so easy to make friends. Just chat to people on the bus, do activities if you can. That is something I think you should probably think about if you're doing Kiwi Experience, is the activities in New Zealand are incredible, once in a lifetime kind of things. So budget to do activities, and even if you think, oh, I'm just going to do like a couple, no, like plan and budget to do as many as you can, because I just had life experience after life experience after life, like just incredible bucket list stuff. Before I went to New Zealand, I had a lot of questions about using Intercity buses versus using the Kiwi Experience. So from what I've learned, basically, I met people who were doing all sorts, and what the main vibe that I got is I found it a lot easier to make friends on Kiwi Experience than I did in hostels in Australia or even in New Zealand. Especially in low season, I was in some hostels, I was the only one there, which was great, but also difficult to make friends. And some people I met found it really easy to make friends in hostels. You do you. Just for me, I found it a lot easier to just meet people on the bus and be friends with people on the bus. The good thing about Intercity buses is you can take them on days when there aren't Kiwi Experience buses. So I did that once from here to Auckland, and there were no backpackers on that bus, so it's going to be harder to meet people. I've heard stories of people saying it's great and they meet loads of backpackers, make loads of friends, but that wasn't the case for the one that I took. Again, that's just me, just my experience. Also, a lot of people I met who were doing Intercity buses had, like, they bought a certain amount of hours they could use, and pretty much everyone I met never actually used up their hours, so they then had to, like, sell on their ticket, which is, like, fine, if a good way to make money, but if you can't sell it on, then you might have, like, lost a bit of money. The Intercity bus probably overall is cheaper, though. And we're coming to the end of the video. My random top tips, whatever you want to call them, things to bear in mind. Number 1, be flexible. You don't have to be like super flexible. I planned my entire trip months before I went, knew exactly the dates I was doing things. I even booked my Tongariro Alpine crossing, which is so weather dependent. I booked it for this one day, and that was the only day I was going to be in Taupo, and I was like, I'm doing it on that day. And I got really lucky with the weather, and it was amazing. So you can plan really far ahead, but also because of the hop-on, hop-off nature of Kiwi, you can like be flexible and make plans when you're there if you make really good friends. So I made like amazing friends, and instead of going to Lake Tekapo and Christchurch, I decided to stay in Queenstown longer because I just wanted to hang out with my friends for a couple extra days because it was so fun. And also Queenstown is like really nice, so why would you want to leave? But I met a lot of people who had barely planned their trip. They were just like, I'm here now. Okay. Although, bear in mind again, it's only going to be flexible like that in the low season. Probably middle of summer, you're not going to have that flexibility. So just be careful. This kind of links on to my next point, which is you can change buses. So a lot of people were like sticking to the exact plan that they had. And if you have a driver that you don't vibe with, or a group of people on the bus that you're just not making friends with, gelling with, just stay an extra night somewhere and hop on the next bus. Because it'll be a new driver, new people, great. Third tip is you can stop off in Wanaka. So that is one of the stops on the way to Queenstown. So you stop there for 2 hours when you are like on the normal bus. You just have a stop, you have some lunch, have a little walk by the lake. It's really quaint, really nice. However, you can email Kiwi Experience. Maybe they don't want people to know about this, but you can email them and say, hey, I want to like actually get off the bus at that point, and you can. And a lot of people do that because in Wanaka there's Roy's Peak, which is a really popular hike. And it's also just like really cute and quaint and like a smaller version of Queenstown, which a lot of people like. I actually didn't hop off and found like the 2 hours was enough, but if I wanted to do Roy's Peak, I obviously would have stayed there. Last thing, really quick before I run out of storage again, is definitely stay longer in certain places. I say stay an extra couple of days in the Bay of Islands. Definitely stay in Wellington a few more days. I didn't, and I literally had like 12 hours in Wellington. I stayed extra in Rotorua. Not a lot of people did that, but I thought it was good. I did one of like the best experience I had there, which was zip lining. I have a different video about all my favorite experiences that I did in New Zealand if you want to check that out. Also, as I kind of mentioned earlier, you might want to stay a couple extra days in Taupo if you're doing the Tongariro crossing. I got super lucky with the weather, but I met so many people who had been to Taupo, left for 2 weeks, come back, like just trying to do the Alpine crossing. So stay a couple of days or make plans to maybe come back if you need to, if that hike is something that you really want to do. Lastly, stay in Queenstown as long as you can, live there, it's amazing. I stayed 6 days in Queenstown, I think, and I honestly loved it. Like, so much to do. It's just a gorgeous place, great places to eat. There's also some like really popular hikes around there, and you can go to Arrowtown. There's just a lot to kind of check out and see. So that's all from me. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. The Kiwi Experience link will be in my bio. Is that what it's called? My bio, or just down below? I don't know, I'm new to this thing. If you want to know more, I post on my TikTok. There might be answers there, or just more content about Kiwi Experience, about travel, about New Zealand, about things to do. You can leave me a comment there, leave me a DM, whatever. So yeah, have a wonderful day, and goodbye for now.